At 6:30 in the morning, a Mr. and Mrs. G.H. Weaver were driving down North Park Road with their young son when they made a ghastly discovery. A young man was lying dead on the side of the road. He had been shot 4 times. The family sped off and went to a neighbor's house to call 911. When police arrived at the scene, they immediately feared this was the work of their phantom killer. The body was identified as belonging to 17-year-old Paul Martin, who was a former resident of Texarkana that was in town visiting his parents for the weekend. He had last been seen the night before when he picked up his friend, 15-year-old Betty Jo Booker, from a dance where she had been playing the saxophone in a local band. Miss Booker was not at her home, and a search party consisting of law enforcement and local citizens quickly mobilized to try and find her. Sadly, everyone's worst fears were confirmed when at 11:30 a.m. her body was discovered behind a tree almost 2 miles away from where Paul had been found. She had been shot once in the chest and once in her head. Mr. Martin's vehicle, a 1946 Ford Coupe, was discovered almost 3 miles away from where Betty Jo's body had been found, with the key still in the ignition. The similarities to the previous attacks were certainly striking. Both victims had been shot by a .32 caliber pistol. Both had been parked in a well-known lover's lane just prior to the attack, and it was believed that Betty Jo had been sexually assaulted. However, there were some key differences. First, they had been taken quite a distance away from the vehicle before they were killed, unlike previous attacks which took place just outside of the car. Police theorized the killer had led them some distance into the woods, where Paul attempted to fight off the assailant and give Betty Jo a chance to escape. There were signs that Mr. Martin had valiantly fought against his attacker, and this would also explain why his pants were not removed like the previous male victims, as well as why both of them were found so far away from one another. Mysteriously, Betty Jo's saxophone was not found in the vehicle or anywhere near her body during the initial search of the crime scene, and it was theorized that the killer had taken the instrument to try and sell. Unlike the previous attacks, though, evidence was also found in the form of latent prints on Martin's vehicle.